Good evening everybody and welcome to round number 2 of the Everything Simulated Formula 4 Championship here from Snetterton. Another calendar change. We're here at the British circuit for round number 2, the only time we'll be outside of Australia before we end the season in Adelaide and the Bend in the final 2 weeks. After last week's race at Phillip Island, it was very much all about Team Max Boost and whether Sebastian Eskandari can repeat his Super Formula Lights form in this series as well. Well, not quite. He lost out to Kane Ryder on the run to the line in one of the closest finishes that this series has seen. What will happen this time out at Snetterton as myself, Ian O'Leary and Rhys Gardner bring you commentary. George Cook behind the cameras as always. It was a good opening to the season, Rhys. It was a two-driver battle at the front, which, well, it could have been more, but we got a very, very close finish at the end.
Yeah, certainly did, not least for third between the Tulip Racing teammates, which was a dead heat to the line at the final race of the evening. Great start to this short series. It also serves as a recruitment series for FDL with their main leagues starting up again after the Christmas period. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Snetterton's going to handle these cars. It's a fun track, and we are in particular using the 200 layout of Snetterton, which is closest to how the track originally was before it was reprofiled in 2011.
So, yeah, effectively just the outline really. It looks a bit like a slightly wonky oval to me, but we'll see how it races. As I say, Kane Ryder won the first race and therefore he's winning the championship as well. The pole sitter all the way down in 29th, Daniel McCrowan, so no bonus points up here anywhere. It was Eskandari in second, with Jordan Mazzaroli getting that third place. Seth Burkhardt, Daniel Ackland in the top 5. Jackson Riada just missing out on the top 5 ahead of Scott Bartine, David Gallo, Peter Ziedler and Mitchell Albert rounding out the top 10. No gold or silver categories, just one overall class for this season. And 32 at the 32 drivers, that is, at the opening round of the season. We'll see how many get on the board here for this round of the championship as well, because we do have 40 entered, some not appearing last week at Phillip Island in this Formula Ford season. So we'll see how we get on tonight. Not too much to note pre-race. The only thing really is to flag up the Australian Open Wheel Nationals, which is coming up this Sunday night at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Australian time, I'm presuming. That will be 13 FDL drivers taking on 2 other leagues from in Super Formula Lights. And last year it was Mark Hilly from FDL who won the race. FDL didn't win the league's title overall on points, but Hilly, who is here tonight by the way, a champion of Season 3 in the Super Formula Series for us, won the race at Bathurst last time. Well, it's going to be Adelaide this time around. And Adelaide, I don't think, has quite been added to the iRacing system yet, has it? It's about to be, though. And personally, I'm very much looking forward to it. Interesting to see how these cars race around there, because I almost feel that they'll be a bit small for Adelaide, but it'll probably be fine. And yeah, looking forward to see how iRacing's done it and how it looks in the system.
Yeah, it's been quite an object of hype, Adelaide coming to iRacing. It's been one of the most requested Australian tracks over the years, and I'm certainly looking forward to it being added in the new season build, which is going to be deployed in the next few days. But for the moment, we'll keep our eyes peeled on qualifying here at Snetterton. Drivers already out on their first laps. Kane Ryder was the one who topped practice on a 1 minute 14.7. Those are the benchmark times that we'll be expecting here from this session. And already the Max Boost train is active for slipstreaming on these straights.
Indeed, I think at the end of practice, I didn't see the final times, but towards the end of practice they held the top 3 positions in that practice session, and so they're going to be once again all over this. But look at is that Jackson Rihanna again, I think, trying to interrupt their train, or not interrupt them per se, but use it to go faster himself, finishing 6th place at Phillip Island. Maybe wasn't in his plans for the opening round of the championship, considering as one of the Max Boost drivers slips in behind the other 2 here. They're going to continue to rotate, and that is going to be a bit of a problem for Rihanna here, although he might be able to cry foul that he's been impeded if indeed it gets to that stage, but I don't think it was on the run down towards the chicane there through Brundle and Nelson into the final sector of this pretty short track. Bit of a gap opens in front of Rihanna as well, as one of the Max Boost drivers comes in behind him. So there's going to be all sorts of games going on here. We'll try and stay across it, as so far the best time, Campbell Adams, is going to be under big fire here. 16.1, and Eskandari, a couple of purple sectors, is going to go a lot quicker. 15.3. Rihanna even in their train more than half a second slower.
Yeah, he did get held up quite a bit at the S's at the end of the back straight, and well, I guess this onboard here is an opportunity to see how this layout looks. The hairpin at turn 2, instead of going straight on into the infield, you turn left back onto the back straight. The original layout of the circuit, it was just a simple right-hander that led you onto this straight, but of course track's been through many changes over the past decade or 2. Hard entry into this S's section, and oh, that's a little bit of a network error for Rihanna. That sausage curb on the inside of the right-hander is going to be one of the key talking points, I think, of tonight, Ewan. It's very easy to launch the car off bat.
Yeah, it is massive on the inside there, and you've got to keep away from it in these cars. They are far too small to be bounding over the curbs. Especially that one. I don't know many cars of the world, to be fair, that like going over those sausage curves, to be fair, because they are so big. But there we go. Rihanna now on the one up towards the line. Still a little bit closer, in fact, in terms of slipstream, so might have a better chance this time round. Certainly better than Eskandari in terms of improving. I think Kane Ryder improves slightly, and he does, so he's only a 10th behind, and there's the problem. Daniel McCrowan and Vaughan Ryder both getting in front of Rihanna, who still wasn't able to improve. Mazzaroli, though, is able to finally mix it up, and that's really what the other drivers need here. They need to, and here's teammates working together here as well. They need to infiltrate that Team Max Boost train right from the very beginning.
Yeah, Mazzaroli and Burkhart's the Tulip Racing teammates that I mentioned at the top of the show, who had that dead heat at the finish at Phillip Island. There was a little bit of an off-track excursion just then off camera for Mazzaroli, so unfortunately they're going to have to wait another lap to get their run going again. But it'll be interesting to see what Mazzaroli and Burkhart's can do. Seth is actually looking for more time here. He can only manage a mid 1:16 so far, while his teammate sits in second. So keep an eye out on the next couple of laps for these two. It looks like they're going to be the ones leading the charge against Max Boost.
Yeah, they will be, and well, we'll see how long it lasts. Eskandari, I've just seen the bottom of the screen there, 2 purple sectors in the first 2, and that's going to be even quicker. A 14.8 it is in the end. Rihanna moves up as well, though, so he's getting closer in the slipstream, and so we've got 2 non-Max Boost drivers in the top 3, which is unprecedented for this series so far this season. No more improvements, still a bit further back. Ryder and and Rihanna spins. There's his chance gone, as it were. He might have to wait for them to come back around again for him to rejoin them, or he can get in with the Tulip Racing drivers and try and sort of form an alliance with them, if you like. But he spins through turn 2, and the very helpful slipstream that was becoming more helpful to him as it went along is now gone.
Yeah, so important around here. You know, Phillip Island slipstream was incredibly important, and Snetterton is exactly the same. And I mean, it's I wouldn't say it's a similar circuit to Phillip Island. There's practically no elevation change at all around here at Snetterton, but the straights are long enough that you do need to keep in that slipstream if you want some good lap times. Speaking of good lap times, Mark Healy just improving to 9th place, down to a 1:15.6, and I'm looking at that field spread in the sort of back end of the top 10 and down to about 15th place. It's really close at the moment. All it'll take is a bit of extra slipstream somewhere, and you'll see some drivers making huge gains, probably vaulting up multiple rows on the grid. Speaking of, Burkhart's just did that. He sits 3rd.
Yeah, approving of your point there for Seth Burkhart's moving up to 3rd. I think that is a very good sign for this race as well. I mean, I said this before Phillip Island, and it didn't turn out to be true, but the amount of straights that are here and slipstreaming track, this is a very long straight, by the way, right the way from Montreal at turn 2 and 3 to, along the Bentley Straight, even longer than what you see on the 300 layout. And as I say, it's just a misshapen oval really around here. The front straight for these cars pretty long as well. So you get the feeling that it's going to be quite easy to stay in the slipstream as well, although I'll temper that by saying, again, I thought that would happen last week at Phillip Island and 2 broke away at the front. So it is definitely possible in these cars to break away, but I have a feeling it could be quite hard, maybe even harder tonight.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have to wait and see, though, because it is a 30-minute sprint that we've got ahead of us. No pit stops required or anything of the sort. Any mistake that you make in the train is going to put you way back. There goes McCrohan to 2nd place. Very impressive time there from the number 4, and Mazzaroli manages to make an improvement as well. He was given a slipstream by his teammate, and it looks like a little bit of a parking lot having to be navigated there by Daniel Byrne. Very easy to swing the rear end around at turn 2.
Yeah, despite all the traffic jams that have been going on so far, by the way, no stewards' inquiries going on at the moment for impeding. 31 drivers out there at the moment, or 30 right now. Tom Donoghue's in the session as well, but hasn't set a time yet. I'm not sure whether he's racing. There is Todd Parks and his spin through turn 2, where normally you carry on straight on after going through that hairpin and carry on towards turn 3, which is a flowing left-hander. There is a left-hander next up, but it comes very sharply, and it's not as nice to go through. It's just a bit of an awkward chicane on the way out there. It's going to be very interesting to see how the cars race side by side through there. Could be a little bit difficult, perhaps, but we'll find out. Hilly doesn't go any quicker this time round, doesn't improve, so stays in 12th position as the Season 3 Super Formula Lights champion gets his Formula Ford season underway. Some big drivers were missing from the first round, by the way, last week, including Mark Healy, but also Craig Edwards and Angus Milne as well. Drivers you expect to see at the front of the field. They were just 3 of the 8 drivers who missed out in race number 1. Don't see Edwards again here tonight, unfortunately. Oh, no, I do, sorry. He's in 10th place. So he is here tonight as well. And maybe a closer field at the front, but we'll have to see on that. There is Craig Edwards coming out the final corner. He'd like to be, I think, in the top 6 right now, or in that group with less than a quarter of a second up to the current pole sitter, Sebastian Eskandari, who's very much the man to beat in FDL at the moment. And Edwards is carrying on alone to try and get near that top 6. I'm not sure he's going to manage that on his own, to be honest, but maybe we'll be surprised that the slipstream isn't having as much of an effect as we think.
Yeah, well, looking at the non-slipstream times from what I've seen, yeah, it looks like sort of mid-15 is the best you could manage. The slipstream seems to be worth about half a second if you can get a perfect run. I think that's the other layer to what we're talking about here, is the fact that you've got 2 really long straights on this circuit, the start-finish straight and the back stretch between turn 2 and the S's, and you need a toe on both of those straights if you want to maximize your lap time. If you miss out on getting one of them, or the driver ahead of you makes a mistake, then that's going to be the time gone.
Yeah, absolutely. You are relying on a lot going on here, which is always an interesting part of these open qualifying sessions. There is Kane Ryder, meantime, in the middle of his group, and he's gone to the top in front of Sebastian Eskandari by a tenth. It's not going to be over yet, because I think the reigning Super Formula Lights champion is going to get one more chance here in the slipstream. Well, he's been providing the slipstream in the last couple of moments. There is Eskandari, right in behind Ryder, in fact, who will... as they sort of filter their way through, they almost take it in turns. There you see it there. Another driver, to be fair, not on their team, but another driver letting them through there to offer up or get themselves rather a bit more slipstream. Now let's look for this time for Eskandari. No quicker so far in the first two sectors, so maybe it is. Oh, and in the background there must have been trouble. McCrowan, Masroli and Rihanna all off the road together, and I think they were hanging on to the coattails of this group, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they're somewhere else. Masroli's in fact got a meatball. It's always the fascination with open qualifying that these games go on, and it looks like the games have actually got out of hand here. So it was Masroli. Oh dear, this is jockeying for position, isn't it? Gone mad. Rihanna's in the grass. Oh no! And Masroli sat on the apex. Daniel McCrowan's on a lap time, and he's smashed into the back of Jordan Masroli.
Well, that may very well be an impeding penalty coming Mazzaroli's way. He tried his best to get out of the way. I think Rihanna went off the circuit first, probably just to fall behind them. McCrowan coming up on this, like, what do you do in that situation? There was nowhere for him to go.
Exactly, that's what. Sorry for giggling, but I mean, what do you do there? Three wide in front of you, none of them on lap times, and they're just all in the way. Kane Ryder's now off the circuit as well, so Eskandari's going to have to do this with just one teammate, and I have a feeling we've seen the best lap times now with 3 of the top 5 taken out, and the leader out of this group now with Eskandari in it. Vorm Rider getting a great tow, and he might well get further up towards the front. He does. It's a max boost 1, 2, 3 again. Even despite their troubles this session, they're still able to produce in fact a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, throw McCrowan in there as well with only a minute and change remaining in the session. I don't think anyone who comes out now is going to be able to get another lap time on the board. So it looks like this is going to be the last opportunities here for all of our drivers to make those improvements. We're not going to be seeing any more from Kane Ryder. McCrowan and Mazzaroli are in the pits as well. Chase James Tippett, who's in 15th, and as you go further down the field, there's more and more drivers now who don't seem to be making their pull out onto the circuit. Car number 59, and Mark Healy here, trying his best to get another time on the board with no slipstream ahead of him, and it's not going to be an improvement there. But Angus Milne behind gets a hell of a tow. Up to whoa, that's losing the rear end in Riches at turn 1, and very easy to do at high speeds, but excellent improvement from Angus Milne up to 11th.
Yeah, indeed. Making his debut, as I said earlier. Missed out at Phillip Island, and not a championship charge for either Milne or Hilly or Edwards, those who missed out on round number 1. Looks like it's going to be a max boost championship, if you like, a battle between those guys. No teams points in this series, by the way, like we have in the Super Formula Lights, although it was a no contest in season 4 this season, with max boost going so well. They won that at a canter in the Super Formula Lights Championship, but might be different in the Formula Fords with the drivers. Let's see. Kane Ryder and Sebastian Eskandari, though, were 1 and 2 at Phillip Island, and they are 1 and 2 here as well. Same qualifying order at the end of this one, unless Daniel Ackland could do something very special here. Same qualifying order than what we saw at the end of Phillip Island's first race here last week. Just one race per night, by the way, in the Formula Ford Championship, and just a half hour as well, so no strategy required, no pit stops required. Any stops that are made are unscheduled and likely clearing meatballs or indeed other major damage throughout these races, which may well happen. Without being too negative, it may well happen. I mean, based on what we saw there in qualifying, although there won't be drivers slowing down to let each other through quite in the way that we've just seen there may well be incidents and accidents throughout the race of other kinds, but let's wait and see. Pretty close qualifying across the board, you'd have to say. Top 9 covered by 4/10, pretty good going, and again, I think the 6th team is going to keep this a very close race again.
Yep, the top 23 covered by a second with 31 cars in the server at the moment. The only one to not settle that time is our league owner, Tom Donoghue, who's going to be starting all the way back in 31st. Well, that is the end of qualifying. That means we can go through our grid, Ewan, and what a close grid it is.
Absolutely. It's one of the closer sessions you're likely to see. And it's Kane Ryder who takes pole and indeed some bonus points with it as well, ahead of Sebastian Eskandari, Vaughan Ryder and Daniel McCrone. Then on row 2, rounding out a Team Max Boost front 2 rows. Jordan Masroli is next, ahead of Jackson Rihanna, leading the response with Dan Ackland and Seth Burkhartz on row 4. Campbell Adams and Mark Hilly then round out the top 10, just over half a second off pole. Angus Milne on his debut is also 11th, ahead of Michael Scott. Craig Edwards there as well, 13th for the Matters row. Then it's Scott Bartine and Jackie Chung on row 8, ahead of Ches Tippett and Dion O'Neill. James Casser and David Gallo round out the top 20. Dylan Little and Daniel Byrne are then on row 11, ahead of Ben Ryder, the last driver, within a second of pole. Todd Parks is alongside him with Chris Swaddling and Jacob Bampton on row 13. Nathan Verney and Martin Lipsky on row 14, and Justin McLaren and Matthew Vince. And at the back, Tom Donoghue, I'm not sure, setting a time here so far. He is race control tonight, so not racing. Therefore, 30 drivers on the grid for tonight's race. It's a Max Boost front 2 rows. We're about to get underway for half an hour here, Reese. It's a question again of whether they can be beaten.
Yeah, and whether or not the drivers behind them can actually work together to try and mount some kind of challenge. I think that's that was the big problem for many of the other drivers at Phillip Island, is the Max Boost cars were working together so well while everyone else was just squabbling over their relative positions close to them and not able to really mount a challenge. Well, it's all going to start with the run to turn 1, which is quite long, and turn 1, much like Phillip Island, is open and fast, so they'll have to get on the brakes for turn 2. Very narrow in that section of the track as well. Let's see who comes out unscathed.
Remember the chaos we saw on the way towards turn 4, by the way, at Phillip Island. It wasn't the sweeping turn 1 that was the problem, it was just afterwards. And there's a juicy hairpin coming up at turn 2 here. So let's see what happens at Snetterton in round 2 of the Everything Simulated Formula Ford Series, and we are underway. Can the others work together to get alongside Max Boost in towards turn 1? Well, it's some very good launches, in fact, from the front 4. McCrowan, and Vaughan Ryder's going backwards here, right into the middle of the group. He did not get a good start at all from third place. The top 3 Max Boost drivers are away, but Vaughan Ryder isn't. Clean through turn number 1. What's going to happen into 2? Big dive from Hilly down the inside of Burkhartz. That was nearly contact again with Milne. Oh, they're bouncing off of each other through turn 2 here. They get away with it through the hairpin for the first time.
Yeah, only just. It looks like everyone came away okay. Burkhart's in trouble here. Mounted challenge from Michael Scott, who makes it up 2 positions now, with maybe a little bit of a sneaky bump draft from Craig Edwards, who's going to try and settle himself into there. Keeping an eye on Mark Healy, maintaining 7th for the moment, and just up ahead, it looks like that's another Max Boost driver fallen behind. Kane Ryder giving up 3rd place to Jackson Rihanna.
He's got to slow down. He cut across the chicane there. He broke too late and went across the grass through the chicane, and he's clearing a slowdown right now. He is working out how to do this without losing as many positions as possible, and he's going to have to pull out of the line here. So here comes Masroli. Here as well comes Campbell Adams. Mark Kinney's going to be there too. Ryder's going to lose a whole heap of places here. The pole sitter is down in 7th at the end of lap 1. He's alongside Vaughan Ryder, who gets past now as the others try and Masroli and Adams battle in towards. Well, this is unbelievable. Now he's cleared it finally. Kane Ryder's outside the top 10 here. The pole sitter having a disastrous lap 1 after blowing through the chicane at the end of the back straight.
Yeah, it's crazy. Finds himself in 12th now. Was 13th, but he wasted no time getting back past Angus Milne. We'll keep an eye forward here in the battle for 3rd. Rihanna, Mazzaroli, and Campbell Adams, who's had a rollicking good run up through the top 10, as has Mark Healy. They're both up 4 places each. They are not the hard chargers in this field, though, as they go side by side through the S's and chicane. Mazzaroli gets sent off, and that's going to be back down to 7th for him, potentially 8th if Daniel Ackland has anything to say about it. The top charger in this field is Matthew Vince, who is now up 10 places after what looks to be a problem for Swaddling, Byrne, and Rosa, who now are our last 3 running cars.
I have a feeling we've seen something, a bit of a pilot. Oh, there's another. Oh dear, it's all been happening here. So this is going to take some working out. Dean O'Neill getting punted around like a pinball, and he's ended up with interlocked with a couple of drivers down there. There's a lot of positions changing down there, so that's going to take some working out. But yet again, this time it's a front 3, and it's not all max boost at least, but the battling for minor places has already superseded the ambition to try and win this race, and we're in the first 3 minutes of this race. Can't really get my head around this, to be honest with you. I mean, I suspect by the end, or I hope for everybody else's sake, that by the end of the season, effectively we sorted the drivers into 2 teams, especially at the front of the field, Team Max Boost and not Team Max Boost. But at the moment, those who are not on Max Boost are not working together anywhere near well enough. Yeah,
that's, I think, been the main point of weakness, I think, in this championship. You know, if you've got such a unified front like Max Boost are presenting, you have to work together in order to get the best of them. But if you keep dicing for positions at every single corner, that is not going to happen. I think there is an element of trust as well in it as well. You need to rely on the drivers around you to not make their own errors and hold yourself up. Well, this is Dion O'Neill's turn here, getting into the Synergy car, and then everyone else coming up behind was still carrying full pace and just trying to find their way through. Ultimately, I counted about 5 cars that ended up splayed across the track at one point there.
Yeah, they all just piled in there, which is inevitable somewhat when you're all running so closely together, but even so, that's taken a few out of this race, or out of contention at least. No stoppers yet, remarkably. And that's Zerrero off the road meantime through maybe turn 1 or 2, a bit further behind this group at the front, where Hilly is in 4th. Then it's Campbell Adams, then Vaughan Ryder, Jordan Mazzaroli's here, so is Burkhardt, Ackland, Kane Ryder, and Craig Edwards. So it's an 8-driver group battling over 4th place, but making no inroads on those in front. And you can understand why Jackson Rihanna doesn't want to sort of help these guys get back involved. I think he'll be fine with the situation as it is, but I'm not sure I fancy his chances 1 versus 2 there at the front of the field.
Yeah, I agree, but he is in a perfect position to stay behind Eskandari and McCrowan and be able to extend the gap behind, so he's not under any pressure himself if something happens. At the moment, lap time's looking pretty close amongst our front 3. They are covered by less than 1/10 of a second. Healy, Adams, and Ryder, and Vaughan Ryder, sorry, it would appear that they are running a few tenths slower on average. So, I mean, the slipstream is working for those behind them, but it's not really granting them much headway in this fight.
Side by side for the lead, just briefly, as McCrowan gets past Eskandari. That's going to keep happening, so don't mind us if we miss those a couple of times. It's just going to be an exchange of places, unless McCrowan keeps doing that. He shouldn't do, though. So Campbell Adams up to 4th, ahead of Mark Healy. Then it's Mazzaroli, and further behind, more off tracks and more dropping down the field. But this is the group leading the charge behind. And this is what's been happening even... Oh, no!
Oh, whoa!
On the back straight, we've had trouble here for Chase Tippett. And also, there was another driver involved there. I'm not sure who it was for the moment, but trouble on the back straight, which only suggests big misjudgments here and carelessness, really, because... let's have a look here. Yeah, well, Tippett was on the right line. Who was attacking him there from the left-hand side, I'm not sure, but they've sent him straight in the wall.
Looks like James Casa that was also involved in that, because he went back to the pits at about the same time Tippett did. So, unfortunate, little coming together there. at those high speeds, if you make a slight bit of contact wheel to wheel, the cars effectively get stuck inside each other at that point, and there's no real way to break free. So a shame, but hopefully they'll be able to get back out there and at least see the checkered flag. Race controllers started to get busy. 5-second penalty to car 316. That's Dion Rosa for racing rules. No cornering overlap. That incident we caught on replay earlier. Massive pile-up coming out of the chicane. Rosa deemed to be the car at fault there.
No further action, by the way, for Mazzaroli after his incident with McCrowan. We'll see what the reasoning is for that, but I'm a little bit surprised, I must admit. I guess one of the reasons I can think of is that Mazzaroli was only one piece of a very complicated situation there that had 3 drivers blocking the way for McCrowan. He probably won't be very pleased about that, but either way, Mazzaroli gets away with it, and he's just in behind Adams and Hilly, who are going side by side again in towards turn number 1. I mean, I'm not sure these guys would be able to catch up to the leading 3 anyway, but they're not even attempting to at the moment. Here comes Hilly again, looking down the inside. Can't do it in towards turn number 2. That allows a few more to catch up here, including Seth Burkhart's. Form riders in here as well, Daniel Ackland. The battle at the back of this group, by the way, is seeing Kane Rider drop down again. So last week's race winner suddenly in big trouble tonight, even after getting pole position. And the curse of the pole position continues, because Daniel McCrowan, after pole last week, only finished in 30th place. It's not quite as bad as that for Kane Rider at the moment, but it's not the race he was hoping for either.
I think that's going to be the story of quite a few drivers' seasons here. It is only a short season, 4 rounds, so any problems you have, any points that you miss out on, there's not going to be much of a chance to recover those points or mitigate the damage. You're one and done every single weekend. Every single week here. This is what happened to Ryder, side by side, and it looks like he might have been hit from behind there. Edwards, I don't think, did anything wrong, but we might have to get an alternate angle to confirm.
It snaps quite suddenly, but I think that was just awkward contact side to side. It was very sudden, the way that the car spun. Yeah, there's nobody behind them. Wow. So that's just the side to side contact. Looks like Edwards' rear right tyre hitting the bodywork of Kane Rider and just sending him straight sideways. So I'm not sure anyone will be found at fault for that either. Oh, wow, 3 wide, me-time. This is Jordan Mazzaroli, and he's being squeezed over the side of the road there by Mark Hilly. Very tight line on the inside, and he will get through. On the outside, Campbell Adams doesn't know where to go here. Oh, wow, that was close. Really close to contact with Seth Burkhardt, and they all get away with it. Meantime, Daniel McCrowan leads by a second. Something weird's been going on up front, because Jackson Rihanna's in front of Sebastian Eskandari. We've got, for the first time this season, we've got a lead of more than a second.
Yeah, looks like Eskandari may have been clearing a slowdown or something. I'm not sure. He pulled out and let McCrowan take the lead before the chicane, and Rihanna just went, okay, I'm going to go for it and hold on to second. But for the moment, it would seem that Eskandari is trying to get that back here, and he has, coming into turn 1. Meanwhile, this fight behind for 4th is still going on. It now involves 6 cars. We've got Healy, Mazzaroli, and Burkhardt, plus Campbell Adams there, and Vaughn Ryder and Daniel Ackland are starting to catch up. They are making good gains into the corners. Craig Edwards not too far behind either. That's all the way from 4th to 10th, covered by just a few seconds.
Yeah, it's the best group in the field, that's for sure. As Mazzaroli goes to the inside of Hilly again, coming into the chicane. Burkhardt is... Oh, and Hilly's off! Hilly's with a big start there, coming into the chicane, and he's off through the grass. He's back on again, but he'll drop to the back of this group surely now, as there's a lap car off in front of them as well here. It's all happening. Oh, he's trying to stay out of the way, and Mazzaroli very nearly hits him into Coram. He's not going to know where to go here, Hilly. I think he's hoping he gets slowed down naturally by this, but we saw with Kane Rider's penalty earlier, it will not work like that. He will have to slow down on the front straight. He slides. Campbell Adams very nearly hits him. Vaughn Ryder's in here as well. Now what does Mark Hilly do? He has to pull out of line, and he has to get out of it now, because this slowdown could even take him out the back of the group entirely.
And all it takes is a bit too harsh of a change of line, and that's what can happen. The whole reason Healy had that slide in the first place was he was in the middle of the road coming into that chicane, and he got back onto the racing line, but did it too quickly. It unsettled the car. The weight transfer was not on his side, and so the rear end kicked out on entry. Now Healy is getting absolutely buffeted about as he's found himself, where is he? Down in 11th place, and there was contact with the lapped car of Martin Lipsky in the meantime as well. This is where it was all triggered. It's the middle of the road. Then he thinks, okay, I get back onto the racing line, but gets on the brakes right there. Maybe touched the white line. He didn't run onto the grass.
It must have been. I mean, to be fair, I'm amazed when I watch it. I said it last week. I'm amazed when I watch these guys. They don't pitch it sideways like that more often because I can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
when I'm driving it, maybe it's a talent thing, but it's quite incredible. But that though looked like me in towards the chicane there. That was a real snap sideways in towards the chicane for Mark Healy, who has been taken right out the back of the group. It's actually in another one with Kane Ryder battling over 10th with Scott and. Michael Scott and Scott Partine, which isn't confusing at all, down for 10th place. This is, the meantime, the leaders. Very interesting that Eskandari worked with Rihanna there just for a brief moment to catch back up to Macron there. I was really on the fence about what he was going to do there. Was he going to sort of try and slow down Rihanna in a big fight to try and make sure his teammate went on and won the race comfortably, or does he make this a 3-driver group again? He elected for the second option in the end. Oh dear, and it very nearly got split up again there as Rihanna is starting to work out, how can I infiltrate this top 2 right now?
Yeah, this is the thing about a 30-minute race where moves can be made so easily in the slipstream. It's so tempting to go for the move, but you still have half the race to go, and Macron and Eskandari won't be going anywhere. They'll still be right there with you, and they'll just pass you back the next lap if you make those moves. So, you know, a look here and there from Rihanna, I understand, and that's perfectly fine, especially with the advantage they have over everyone from 4th back, but you got to take care not to put your own race in jeopardy by making moves too early.
As the group of 6 has been split into 2, by the way. And Seth Burkhart's Cameron Adams and Jordan Masroli have gotten away from Ackland, Edwards and Vorm Ryder. And so we'll see how long that persists for. This is Matthew Vince versus Dylan Little for 15th place. Plenty of groups going on this race as opposed to last week. I know we're still in the first half just about, but the race was very much split apart by the massive crash on lap number 1 that I was amazed didn't bring out a virtual safety car actually, but either way it effectively reduced it to the leading pair and then the battle for 3rd place. But there's a lot more going on this week here from Snetterton, the 200 layout, bypassing the relatively new infield, which is just effectively where turn 3 is here, bypassed by a short left-hander on this layout through the final corner for these 3. Now, what do they do? Do they work together to distance those 3 you can see in behind here? Well, no. Here comes Jordan Masroli looking to the outside, and surely they're going to invite that other 3 back in if they do this, but to be fair, they're fighting behind 2.
It looks like a clean move there for Mazzaroli. I think what he's trying to focus on is allowing his teammate Burkhartz to get through as well. Now Campbell Adams is in a Tulip Racing sandwich, and it's been that case a couple of times before. For Burkhartz, needs to try and find a way past Adams and then work with his teammate again. But Adams is the spanner in the works here. He picks up the slipstream and goes for the move yet again. Coming into the S's, the Tulip cars go side by side. Mazzaroli says, okay, if we're going to be doing this, I'm going to back out of it. I'm going to get back in the slipstream of Seth, and we'll see what we can do from here.
It's a constant bit of give and take, this race, these races, I guess. Next week and the week after, well, certainly next week at Adelaide will be a little bit different. The street circuit, not quite as long straights around there as what we've seen in Phillip Island and Snetterton, or long flat out sections in the case of Phillip Island. But see what kind of race we see on the streets of Adelaide next week, as we'll be live, same time, same place, for round 3 of the Everything Simulated Formula 4 Championship this season on the road up towards Christmas. This is down towards turn 2, and Vorm Ryder at the back of this group with Edwards and Ackland just in front. Kane Ryder just 2.5 seconds behind them, and currently losing his early championship lead. Sebastian Eskandari would take that pretty comfortably as things stand, even if he finishes 3rd in the front group, which he may well do. We'll see whether he does or not. Rihanna gets in between the 2 Max Boost drivers, by the way, so he's into 2nd, and those games out front continue as the front 9 battling a trio of trios.
Yeah, looking very nice at the moment for our top 3, as we have indeed separated into those 3 groups of 3. What does Adams do here? He's in a very similar situation to Rihanna. He is a single entry who's surrounded by 2 teammates. Coming down the front straight, there's an opportunity to move past into the first turn, but you've got to really stick your nose in it and commit on the exit. Brief internet drop from Seth Burkhardt. He's going to let them go. So when passes are being made in this group for 4th, 5th, and 6th, it seems like they're doing it for the moment without costing each other too much time.
Yeah, they're getting away with this for the moment, which is a little bit unusual, really. You often see when fights start like this, the time really balloons out, and almost uncontrollably, as Jackson Rihanna gets through on Sebastian Eskandari out front. The Tulip teammates trying to get in together here in this group as well, but they can't. Mazzaroli's even going to lose the lead of the group, I think. No, Campbell Adams doesn't punish him for that slight running wide into the grass through the chicane, so gets away with one there, just a little bit. 1 second the gap to the next trio, so is it going to reform as a 6 again as Craig Edwards leads the charge into the final turn? He won't be picking up the coattails of Slipstream just yet, and in fact that's made less likely by the fact that Seth Burkhardt gets a very good run out of the final corner, and he'll get some slipstream from his teammate now as well over the start finish line. He'll be ahead of Campbell Adams here, and it is Tulip 4th and 5th. Meanwhile, out front, Rihanna and McCrone both went off the circuit. That's wide from Mazzaroli. It's all happening, and he goes to the back of the group again.
Oh, that was scary from Mazzaroli. Thank goodness there was that little patch of green painted concrete on the exit on the outside of turn 1. Otherwise, he would have absolutely gone off into the sticks. I think he was trying to just let Seth Burkhardt's go, and they could assume 2-car running ahead of Campbell Adams, but it hasn't worked out that way. Rihanna clobbering the anti-cut curb at the S's, and that's going to give Eskandari a slight bit of breathing room up the front with 10 minutes still to run in this race. They still enjoy a gap of about 5.7 seconds over the rest of the battling in the top 10.
Yeah, this is not going to come all back together. It's unless they all crash into each other, of course, in which case they'll have bigger things to worry about, I would have thought. So less than 10 minutes to go. We'll see how many laps there are. It's not a very long lap round here, but so far the fastest one has been set by Sebastian Eskandari, a 14.9, the only 14 actually of the race. Rihanna again just a little bit wide through turn 1. They're pushing harder and harder now. They almost all ran wide through turn 1 last time round, and just Rihanna this time, but the gap's starting to increase. Eskandari 6 tenths away, although he'll now be dragged back in the slipstream. What can McCrone do, though? If he gets side by side here, it could be the race. If it gets out of hand again in towards the chicane at the end of the back straight here, he gets closer and closer, but not close enough. And Rihanna has got to get his head down here. Eskandari's looking quick at the front, and he's in danger of breaking this group.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for the lap time at the end of the lap there, and it looks like a black flag just being given there to Matt Tesoriero. Looks like he might have exceeded the pit lane speed limit, so that's unfortunate for him. Here we go then into the final corner. Get a good exit out of here, which is way more difficult than it looks, and you'll be granted with the slipstream down the front straight. Rihanna still within slipstream range, but the lap times for the moment, Eskandari looking the quickest, 1:15.092 and 1:15.17 and 16 respectively for Rihanna and McCrowan. So they're looking good. This battle, though, is really closed up. The Tulip teammates trading places once more behind Campbell Adams, and now Craig Edwards and Daniel Ackland are right there with them.
So it's back to a, well, it was going to be a 6. It's a 5 while the two groups have gotten together again, and just a lapse reprieve before it all kicks off again. I would imagine the Tulip Racing drivers probably are working out what to do here. Masroli and Burkhardt, how can they finish 4th and 5th and maximise this race here this afternoon into the final chicane again, and they will stay 2nd and 3rd of the group. So a couple of laps of just calm here for a moment, and then I'd imagine the final laps will be madness again, and it'll all kick off. But let's see how the Tulip Racing drivers go about this, trying to finish 4th and 5th.
Yeah, the final corner here, I've just been thinking about it a bit more over the previous lap. It looks simple enough from the air, this entire track, really, but every single corner has some kind of subtle quirk to it that you need to be prepared for, otherwise you're going to lose a ton of time. The exit curb at the final corner, for example, very bumpy. This run here into the hairpin, it's a lot tighter than it looks, and then you got to turn left onto the back straight. It's very easy to run off the circuit there. Eskandari breaking the slipstream as Jackson Rihanna is now the fastest man of the lot, a 1:14.8. First time we've seen a lap time below a 1:14.9 that the Max Boost teammates were able to do, as there's the move. Jackson Rihanna gets up the inside of Sebastian Eskandari and immediately going defensive into bomb hole. Let's see if he can hold this off.
Whoa, again, he's nearly rear-ended by Eskandari. That was brave on the outside there, turning to the inside through Brundle and Nelson. And they get away with it. Rihanna gets away with it, and he gets away with the lead, indeed, through the final turn. That's a good run through there, but not a good exit, and Eskandari is going to go straight back past him here. 6 minutes to go in this race, and at least he's trying something here. He's not going to die wondering in this race, Jackson Rihanna. I still think the odds are very much steeply stacked against him, but he is not going to die wondering. And here comes Eskandari back down the inside again, trying to manufacture his teammate back into 2nd, but he can't do it. McCrowan on the outside, on the inside rather, trying to get through on Rihanna, who's on the outside. Has he still got the overlap? No, not by turn 3. And again, McCrowan doesn't have an overlap either. Eskandari weaves to try and help McCrowan again, but he's not alongside, and so it doesn't matter. Rihanna will get into the slipstream. McCrowan gets a double toe. There could be 3 wide into the chicane here if they're not careful. Eskandari could be under threat again. Rihanna round the outside, inside of the 2nd part. They're careful. They give each other room, and they're still side by side coming up into the bomb hole now, and McCrowan doesn't know where to go. He's just waiting. He's not going to make it 3 wide at the moment. Outside of the front or back straight, it's probably a bad idea. Side by side they go through Coram, wheel to wheel, really close to contact constantly as they come through the final turn. Rihanna gets into the slipstream as Eskandari slides in front of him. Less than 5 minutes to go now, and there'll be 4 laps remaining in this race. Rihanna with 4 laps to fend off the Max Boost teammates again.
You know, they waited until about 5-6 minutes to go to start making this happen. They were doing a good job just running in line and looking after each other up until Jackson Rihanna decided, no, it's time for me to attack. And there's contact there between Rihanna and Eskandari. McCrowan will move into 2nd, but Rihanna's still with them. He almost runs into the gearbox of McCrowan. Have a look at the timing tower. The gap to the battle for the top 4 has been slashed with this little exchange.
Yeah, they're going to start their own exchange, though, for 4th, and so I'm not sure he's going to come back, but Rihanna is coming back into 2nd, inside again, and he is really disrupting Team Max Boost stranglehold over this race, looking for their 2nd 1-2 in a row at the start of this season, and they're not going to get it easily. 3 laps to go when they get to the line, and again, Jackson Rihanna is trying everything here, trying everything out so that he knows what his plan is going on to the last lap of the race.
Yeah, then that last lap is only going to be 2 more laps away. My timing is saying 3 laps to go for the drivers at the front of the field with less than 3.5 minutes on the clock. Side by side between Campbell Adams and Seth Burkhart's for 4th. Meanwhile, they're going to continue their fight. Adams once again holds on to the spearhead position here in this fight. He's not been willing to give it up, has he?
Absolutely not. He's been fighting hard, as all of these guys in this 3rd place group have been. They just, you know, backed away for the last 5 or 10 minutes or so. And that's why, partly why some of the gap's been going down. It's also because of this kind of stuff. Side by side again. McCrowan on the inside of Rihanna. Really close. And there's contact. McCrowan's gone. Contact between Daniel McCrowan and Jackson Rihanna, and Daniel McCrowan's now in this group, which has got a podium on the line. He's rejoining on the grass here. He's careful not to get in front of everybody, and we've got 2 at the front. Rihanna nearly 8 tenths behind. He's got some work to do there, but we've got an even bigger 3rd place group.
Well, once again, it is a Tulip Racing car that is in contention for the last spot on the podium. I wonder what race control is going to be saying about that contact there, because, well, we'll get another look at it here just to dissect. Rihanna trying around the outside. And actually, did you see that little wiggle there from McCrowan? It looked like he was already losing control a little bit before Rihanna made contact. So I don't know. Well, again, we'll see what race control thinks about that, but I don't know if Rihanna's entirely at fault for this.
He is already was there contact at all?
No,
Sure.
actually, it looks like there wasn't.
Pretty remarkable. It's not being protested so far, so we'll keep across that. And by the way, only Dean O'Neill and Tristan McLaren have 5-second penalties so far in this race. Nothing much to report from the front of the field. Side by side for 3rd. Campbell Adams defending well here, but I've got a feeling that Burkhardt and Mazzaroli are waiting here, and they're mobbing 2nd and 3rd in the group to try and draft straight past into 3rd on the last lap, which is coming up next. Eskandari, 5 tenths of a second rather, in front of Jackson Rihanna. I'm not sure who is close enough at the moment. He's just, you know, hanging on to the slipstream, yes, but is he close enough to make that overtake for the win?
Well, I suppose there's some minor advantage for Rihanna in that Eskandari no longer has a teammate to help him out and cover him off in that fight. We'll go back to our leaders in a moment because it is on into turn 1 here for 3rd. Burkhardt and Mazzaroli leading the charge to try and grab that position again. And now Craig Edwards is going to get himself into the fight here. Has a look up the inside of Mazzaroli, but not quite alongside. McCrowan is still right there. So is Kane Ryder. So the drivers who started in 1st and 4th for Max Boost are still well in this fight. The Tulip Racing teammates side by side as our leaders. Well, looks like there's not much moves to be made for Rihanna and Eskandari.
No, unless he can dive at the final corner, he's got no chance here. As Rihanna, Burkhardt tries to go for it on Campbell Adams, but can't. Will Rihanna dive at the final turn? He's getting close, but no, he's just backing away now through Coram. Eskandari probably will have seen it coming anyway. It's that run up towards the line. Oh, he dives into the final turn, but has he got the exit here? It could be another draft up to the line. Has Eskandari got the legs on the run up here? Jackson Rihanna's just going to run out of meters, and Sebastian Eskandari's going to win again. Another race separated by less than 1/10 of a second. And side by side for 3rd, Burkhardt gets it. 22 thousandths there as well, as Campbell Adams defended very well for most of that race. He loses it on the run to the line. Burkhardt does what Rihanna was attempting to and gets into 3rd, but Sebastian Eskandari wins the race. Another race separated by less than 1/10 of a second.
Fantastic finish. And we've still got yet more drivers to come across the line as well. Matthew Vince, Dylan Little, and Jackie Chung are the ones you see coming up on you now, and they almost thought about going 3 wide across the line there. So they'll follow each other across nicely. Daniel Bird and Todd Parks will find their way through to 17th and 18th, and then Dion Rosa and Angus Milne will be the next fight here again, side by side across the line. Almost a dead heat between those two for the last couple of positions in your top 20.
And final drivers over the line will be the likes of Ben Ryder, Chris Rodling, Jacob Bampton. The last ones to finish indeed on the lead lap here. Most drivers got to the end of the race, although there were some retirements. We'll go through in a moment as we have a look at the race results after round number 2 of the Everything Simulated Formula 4 Championship this season. It's Sebastian Eskandari who wins this time 95 thousandths of a second in front of Jackson Riala, who did try pretty much everything there. Seth Burkhart's won that battle for third in the end, just on that run to the line with Campbell Adams. Jordan Masroli rounds out another top 5 for him, by the way. Burkhart's and Masroli and Eskandari, the only 3 to be in the top 5 on both races so far. Craig Edwards was in that group too, with Danny McCrowan, Kane Ryder and Dan Ackland. Vaughan Ryder rounded out the top 10 on his own. Scott Bartine was battling away with Michael Scott there in the end for 11th. David Gallo, Matthew Vincent Little rounded out the top 15. That was a photo finish there as well. Jackie Chung was in that group too. Then Daniel Byrne and Todd Parks, Darren O'Neill and Angus Milne, who rounds out the top 20. Ben Ryder, Chris Rodling and Jacob Bampton were the last on the lead lap, as I said. James Casso, Matt Tesoriero ended up 1 lap down. Martin Lipsky 2 down. Mark Healy 6 down. Nathan Verney 8 down ahead of Tristan McLaren, with Chase Tippett and Tom Donahue didn't start the race here tonight. Let's have a chat, shall we, to the race winner tonight, Sebastian Eskandari, who gets there by less than a tenth of a second in the end. Sebastian, welcome in. Congratulations on a race victory in the Formula 4 Series tonight at Snetterton. Tell us about that last lap, those last few laps, as in your mirror you saw your teammate Daniel McCrowan go off the road and it was a straight fight between yourself and Jackson Rihanna. Tell us about the last couple of laps.
Yeah, hi guys, thanks for having me on. It was a really good fight. Jackson raced quite fair and hard at the end there. It was unfortunate with what happened with Dan at the end, but I guess it's racing. But I really enjoyed the race, and it was great to come back from a close win last week, so yeah.
Yeah, very, very close last week, and you're the only driver to be in that front group both times this time round. What's the key, would you say, to or at least so far has been for these 2 races? What's been the key to you staying in that front group on both occasions so far?
Well, this car is just much quicker when you're in slipstream, so it's just getting slipstream and qualifying to qualify at the front. And I've done quite a good job of it in the first 2 rounds. And I'll hope to replicate it at Adelaide and the Bend.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there at those last 2 rounds, but for now, congratulations on the win tonight, Seb, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks
so much. That is Sebastian Eskandari, wins tonight at Snetterton. Haven't so far been joined by Jackson Riala. Hopefully he comes in in a moment, but third place tonight was Seth Burkhart's, who just about gets there on the run to the line, and we can chat to him now as well. Seth, welcome in. Congrats on a third place finish tonight by very few thousandths of a second in front of Campbell Adams. That group was large all the way through, but towards the end I noticed you and Jordan sort of lined up there in second and third in the group. Was that sort of planning from you both to try and get one of you at least onto the podium places?
Yeah, it was kind of. We really noticed how hard the front 3 were scrapping, and we hoped the cars around us noticed too, and we just tried to line up and catch the front 3 as much as we could.
Given that was the plan, because you saw the guys up front battling like that, why was that not possible at the start of the... I know you're not the only ones in control of the group, to be fair, so it's unfair to ask one person, but why is this organisation only able to come at the end of the race and not at the start, when it might be possible to bring that front 3 back again?
Yeah, great question, to be honest. I think we'll just blame it on the red mist. Everyone locks in a bit at the start of the race and then realises that the front 3 have skipped off by 6 odd seconds, and now we've got to lock in for the rest of the race.
So a bit unfair to ask one person, but I thought I'd give it a go. 2 top 4 finishes for the first 2 rounds. How pleased are you with the first half of the season? Yeah,
pretty good. Just been good fun having close, hard racing with everyone. This is a good fun online series for me to take part in while I wait for my real life season to start again next year. So just enjoying it, really.
Well, hopefully we'll see you in the next couple of weeks enjoying it once more. Thanks for chatting to us at the end of tonight's Seth, and congrats on a podium tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Seth Burkhart's third place tonight at Snetterton, and while we've been waiting, Jackson Miana has indeed popped himself in the waiting room. We can chat to him as well. Jackson, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Just less than a tenth of a second away from a race victory there. Tell us about the last lap and your plan to get past Sebastian Eskandari.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Yeah, just I don't think I gave myself enough of a chance in that second last lap there. A few little errors and mistakes. So Seb and Daniel were mega to race against, as all the Max Bruce guys are usually. Shame I didn't give myself a chance at the at a proper dig there. You know, we had a few good lobs at the during the middle part of the race, when I knew we had enough of a gap to the group behind us. That's when I sort of thought, all right, let's get the gloves off. Let's stop playing mind games and silly games, and let's start playing. But good fun race, all the less, and yeah, awesome to fight with the Max Boost guys.
Just talk us through the incident as you saw it with Daniel McCrowan there, because from live when we saw it, looked like there was actually big contact between the two of you, but actually when we stood at the replays, maybe there wasn't. What was what was your perspective on it?
I didn't feel too much through my like I only had a 0x on my screen, which sucks. Like, again, you hate to see it. Like, it was awesome fun. Daniel and Seb were working really, really well together. And I don't want to see Daniel spinning off. He deserves a spot on the podium at least for his driving tonight. But yeah, unfortunate racing incident, and never any what's the word? Never any intent when contact is made. Just hard racing, just trying to get every inch of the track that we can, and it's, what can you do? If it was me, I'll be mad. But I know the Max Boost guys are always really clean, hard, and fair. So I always try to give them the same respect back.
Well, congrats on getting yourself to second tonight, and thanks for coming to chat to us at the end of the race as well.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, guys. Thanks, you.
Thanks very much. Jackson Miana, second place here tonight from Snetterton, just behind Sebastian Eskandari. Well, Reece, it's another race separated by less than a tenth of a second. Still a close championship, as you can see here. Top five covered by just 33 points after 2 rounds so far. You'd expect to see that, really. Eskandari, Burkhart's Kane Ryder, Rihanna and Masroli, probably the only ones involved and able to get up there in the championship now, but they're all going to have to beat Sebastian Eskandari, who's been very good so far this season, just on the wrong side of a close finish last week and on the right side of it this week.
Yes, we'll see if he can repeat that at Adelaide next week. Also worth noting, Campbell Adams with that result, a whopping 21 places up, and looking good to continue that form if he turns up for the next couple of rounds. McCrowan making a nice recovery, sitting in provisional P12 in the drivers' standings after the disastrous first round for him. But my attention will be turned to next week, where we race on the streets of Adelaide for the very first time in the sim world. I agree. I'm interested to see how the cars are going to handle the place, because particularly at the first chicane, the curbs are quite brutal. I would expect you wouldn't want to hit them too hard in these cars, and of course, walls are incredibly close at all times. The Turn 8 kink at Adelaide is going to be a place I'll be watching intently.
Yeah, can't even practice yet to see what it's going to be like. So, that's going to be a good race. Everybody a little bit underprepared compared to maybe what they would otherwise be at a more well-known circuit. So that's always fun for us anyway in the commentary box. We look forward to it very much. I hope that you'll join us again in 1 week's time for that next race from Adelaide. But that's just about it from us tonight. A reminder that 13 of FDL's drivers will be taking place in the Australian Open Wheel Nationals at Adelaide on Sunday night at 8 p.m. So make sure to check that out. Mark Hilly was the race winner when the last race was on at Bathurst. So although FDL didn't take the league's title, just have a race winner in its ranks, and maybe will do in this round of the Australian Open Women Nationals as well. So make sure you check that out, and we'll update you on how it went next Tuesday as well. Hope that you'll join us for that from Adelaide, but for now I've been Ian O'Leary alongside Rhys Gardner with George Cook behind the cameras of this broadcast here tonight. We'll all return in 1 week's time in the next round of the Everything Simulated Formula 4 Championship here this season from the streets of Adelaide. But until then, it's goodbye for now.